And hello and welcome to episode 125 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers, all about scale modelling. And this episode is being brought to you by our latest Patreon supporter, Dom Barr. Thank you, Dom, for your contribution. If you'd like to be just like Dom and help us out with the show, you can do so by going to www.patreon.com/on the bench and pledge any amount from as little as $1 per month. Your contributions help with the publication and hosting costs of the show. Established in 2016, the Scale Modeler Supply has developed a comprehensive range of premium acrylic lacquer paints designed specifically with the scale modeler in mind. Certified Australian made, SMS paints are tough and durable with a fast drying time that have been designed to use straight from the bottle, taking all the guesswork out of airbrushing. Simply shake and spray. The ever-growing range of SMS paints will suit all types of model builders, be it military, aircraft, cars, train, science fiction or gunpla. SMS premium acrylic lacquer paints will have a colour to suit you. SMS products are available through a trusted network of stores across Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, the US, and are also now available for the first time in the UK Froome Model Centre. Check the SMS website at www.scalemodeler.com.au to find your closest stockist. These paints are on my bench and I use them all the time, so I know that you will not be disappointed. And hello and welcome to the show, everybody. Apologies for being 1 week late. It's the first time, I think, ever in our history that we've actually missed dropping a show on our regular timetable. Unfortunately, we had a huge weather event that came through Victoria, which meant that I was at work and we just had to, we couldn't get recording. 10,000 plus jobs, I think it was around, and had to get people there from New South Wales to help, and one heck of a storm it was. So, no fear, the boys are back, and we're in the studio.
Yay!
G'day, Ian.
G'day, Dave. G'day, Julian. G'day, listeners.
G'day, Julian.
Good morning. It's not too bad. I've had two. This is on. I'm through. I'm on my second cup of coffee.
So all is right with the world then.
Yes, that's right.
All is good.
You've fed me breakfast. It was a very nice breakfast. Thank you.
That was great. Yeah.
That's all right. Michelle got slightly different bacon, and I was a bit concerned how it would come out. It wasn't the normal.
Still tasted like bacon.
Yeah, but.
And I had second and thirds, so it was all right.
You had secondies.
Secondies and thirties.
Oh, and of course, on top of all that, I'm struggling with an ear issue. My right ear is completely blocked up, so I'm listening to the whole world in mono rather than stereo, and it's just driving me nuts.
Actually, that's not quite right, Dave. You're actually still listening to it in stereo, but just that one of the channels is out. Because that's more annoying. I mean, if it was mono, you'd be hearing the same in every ear. But you're hearing only in one ear.
Yes.
Well, it's like having a stereo when your speakers ain't working.
Correct.
That's right.
Yes.
Very annoying.
Oh, it's driving me nuts. I've got to put drops in my ears every four times a day, and then back to the doctors to try and get it irrigated on Monday.
Well,
and then before you do it, they tell you about all the side effects that could happen. Like, you can feel nauseous. You can lose your balance, and your eardrum might be perforated. All that sort of stuff.
Stuff you don't want to hear.
I don't care. Just let me sign the release form. Get it done.
Get me out of here.
Get me out of here. Yeah. So, and of course, we're all back in the studio together, as I said. So, what have you guys been doing since 3 weeks since we all get together? Well, back together. So, what's been happening?
I'll go first.
You go first.
You go first.
For a change. That's the only reason. I don't actually have
I've
that
got
much
not much to talk about.
Oh, good. We're good with front loading then. So I've gotten most of the way with the hurricane that's coming along. We had model club last night, so I brought along my hurricane, and with the intention of putting all the decals on it, and I hit my goal. I finished all the decals, so if I get home within a reasonable time today, I'll probably be able to either clear coat it or... No, I think I might flat coat it. I don't think I'll put any panel line wash or anything on it.
So you did the decals at a club meeting?
Yeah.
That scares me.
Why?
No, what, really?
Well, because you want them to dry, you don't want to pick it up wrong way, and the decal might get marked or something.
No, it was fine. To be honest, I've had more issues when I've done it at home by myself. One thing that did go a bit funny with whatever the decals that Airfix supply you with for this, it did the thing where it wrinkles up a lot, and not like the kind of wrinkle where it looks like an excess of skin across a whole lot of space. This is where it actually sort of becomes like mountainous looking, like it really sticks up pointedly. Yeah, and only in certain places. And I was concerned that it'd be stuffed, but eventually they flattened out enough that I didn't care.
Oh, good.
But there was still some areas where
Do they conform nicely to the panel lines?
Sort of. I mean, they're deep panel lines. I mean,
Yeah, well, it's Airfix.
yeah, it reminds me of like
Trenches.
I remember I once.
It reminds you of the old Matchbox kits.
So I once saw this image, and it was like a map of the United States, and it showed like this is all the places that people frequently go missing, and then it was overlaid over a map of all the caves in the United States, and
Right.
it all matched up. So the idea is that people who go missing and never come back, those people are going down into caves and not coming out.
Well, they go into the caves and getting attacked by chuds.
Well, no, it's not. It's because some of those caves are like, someone finds a little hole in the ground and it looks big enough to get into, and then they never get out.
Well, it's not just that. I watched a thing on YouTube this morning where a guy was exploring a cave and nearly walked straight into a hibernating bear.
Oh, geez.
That's the last thing you want to do is wake up a bear.
In any case, that's kind of like what these panel lines look like
Yeah.
giant crevasses.
Crevasses, yeah.
And I don't need to put a panel line wash into them because they just cast shadows.
Yeah, it does it for it naturally.
So I think I'll leave that alone. I'll just flat coat it and move on to maybe trying some oils on it for a while.
Sounds good. Sounds great, yeah.
This is so weird because Julian's sitting on my right and I can hear him in my left ear. And it's just doing my head in, man. It really is.
Yep.
Well, I've been doing absolutely no modelling. Did I turn your volume up too loud?
You certainly did.
Oh, okay.
You're trying to kill my hearing as well as your own.
There we go.
Yeah,
How's
yeah.
that better?
Is that? No, I don't think that's one.
Yeah, look at him. Dude, excuse me while we're having a technical difficulty.
Oh, it's not technical difficulty. It's just Julian's twiddling knobs.
Yeah. Yes.
Sounds
There are
so
switches and knobs. Yes.
I've been doing absolutely no modelling whatsoever. I think I haven't done any modelling for nearly 8 weeks now.
Well, you're in a real funk.
Oh, it's not a funk. It's just I'm just so busy with work.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
And I get home and the weekend gets here and I just want to go, just plop.
I know the feeling. Like ever since I started my new job, my modelling's gone downhill because I'm doing long hours, early starts, and you get home from work and you just want to have a shower, bite to eat, and crash out on the couch.
Well, see, this is the kind of time when I wish I was more productive because then I could go,
Yeah.
yeah, it sucks to be you guys.
Like
But I haven't done much.
Last weekend was Melbourne Cup. We had Melbourne Cup last week, so I had 4 days off work.
Right.
And I thought, heck, 4 days, I'll do heaps. I made the big mistake of opening my freaking curtains for the first time after winter and had a look around and gone, oh my. Cobwebs and dust. And, I guess that's what I'm doing for half the weekend. And then I went to the local tool shop and bought myself a orbital benchtop sander.
Ooh.
305 millimetre disc, so it's a huge disc on it, 800 watt motor. This thing is freaking awesome.
Do you think do your toenails?
Yeah. No, so I can get me base because it comes with like a mitre square, so you can sand your bases perfectly 90-degree angles. Cool. So when I do my wooden bases, but I learnt a lesson because I'm not familiar with these tools, and I was just like going from left to right, and I went too far right, and because it's spinning anti-clockwise. As soon as I went too far to the right, it's just grabbed this timber out of my hand and shot it skywards. It's like, okay, I know not to sand on that side. Sand on the other side. But it's a marvellous machine.
Yeah.
Absolutely marvellous.
Oh, good.
I haven't even bought any kits for a while either.
Oh, well, I've still been buying kits, so that's good.
I may change that today because I know that Gundam Plus recently got in the Akagi, so I might have to go for a drive to there today.
I feel like the Akagi is a better looking ship than the Shikaku.
It is, yeah. Plus it's got all that geodetic framework.
Yeah, the
which will
framework.
be really fun to do with photo etch.
Yeah.
I saw a video. I think I might have sent it to you, and it was some guy who did their Kagi.
And he was,
That was really rough. It was a really impressive thumbnail because I was like, oh, that looks cool. I'll click on that. I'll click the YouTube video, and some of the roughest photo etch work I've ever seen.
And once seen, it can't be unseen.
Yeah, and like every time he puts his tweezers near it, like he bends something and then has to bend it back. It's like,
and flooding it all with glue.
Oh, yeah, the glue, because you know how it's all framework. It's all like you know, like got little holes and
lattice work,
crisscrosses and things. And he's like, it looks like he's like using like a toothpick to smear hot glue across it. You know. Oh, like you look at it and you're like, oh, jeez. You know how when you work with photo etch, you kind of sometimes go, oh, I went a bit heavy on the super glue there, and then it's probably not going to be able to. I'm probably not going to be able to find out how bad that looks until I hit it with paint.
Paint on, yeah.
Well, this thing would have looked like it was assembled with clag or something like that, you know.
Yeah, I found it. Like I found out my earlier years with using photo etch, especially on ship railings, and when I was doing my submarine thing.
Yeah.
And I always found that the best way of doing it is paint your photo etch first, paint your kit first, and the last thing is glue your photo etch too, because the super glue dries clear.
Yep.
So even if you go a little bit heavy, it's really hard to notice because you haven't got paint on. As soon as you put paint over it, well, you're going to see this big blob.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I used to do.
And then you can flat coat it afterwards, and most of that goes away.
Correct.
It'll be, even if you can kind of see it, it's mostly the shininess. Of the super glue.
Yeah, once it's flat coated, it disappears.
Yep.
Which I learnt.
I always paint my mostly always paint my photo etch first before I put it on the ship. Just so much easier.
Oh, it is definitely.
Unless I'm doing like the upper structure works of like and the colours all the same, so I can spray it all at once as well, and then then I'll do it in that way. But otherwise, I'm like you.
Yeah.
Pretty much paint it first. I've done a ship for so long.
Well, that's my next project.
Yeah?
That's my next
project.
project.
You're doing the Torpedo Boat Destroyer?
Yeah. The one we got from Chris Meddings.
Got one for Chris Meddings, yeah.
That's my next project.
I'm
really looking forward to that.
I've seen a photo of one of them finished.
I know, it looks amazing, doesn't it?
God, it looks gorgeous.
And mine's going to be white. I want to do a Pacific.
That's going to be so
Pacific
hard
fleet.
to do it white.
That's going to make it look so good.
Yeah.
White with the green boot lining.
I love green boot lines.
And it's just going to look so cool. But the problem is, Chris was great enough. He sent me the book.
Yep.
And the book is fantastic. But I still don't know which one of these ones served in the Pacific Fleet. I've gone online. I've sent emails. So anyone out there knows which Claymore class ships were in the French Pacific Fleet the turn of the century, please let me know. Because they supply you with ship's badges for, I think, about 8 different Claymore classes.
Yeah.
And I know that some of these were Pacific, but I don't know which ones.
Oh, Chris listens in, so maybe he'll reach out to us, or we can reach out to Chris.
I'll just send him an email.
Yeah.
Send him an email, see if he got any more info.
That'd be the easiest
But that
way.
book he sent was fantastic. That's all the little postcards from the French, from the turn of the century. It's just
absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to see you finish that kit because it's going to be gorgeous.
It's going to come out quite nice.
Yeah. We also need to say g'day to Just Making Conversation, Malcolm and James. They've just reached their 1 year anniversary of their podcast.
Congratulations, guys.
So they've done really well.
And so one of the other guys just dropped their 50th.
Yeah.
Was that Plastic Posse?
May well have been.
And congratulations anyway.
Yeah.
50 is a great milestone.
It is. With Malcolm and James, they have been doing some live Facebook stuff on the Musaru Cup as he's been building it. So it's quite amusing. I've been watching that as well, so it's a lot of fun.
You getting sweaty yet?
No, I'm not getting sweaty. Well, I'm getting sweaty because we're in November. It's going to be due by a certain date in March. It's going to be done and all the photos sent off and all that sort of stuff. And I've made no more progress since I last posted pictures. So I'm getting a bit nervous.
Well, honestly, it's pretty much done.
Well, no, I've got to weather it now. Oh, deck all weather.
Yeah.
That's
not going to take long.
So which one are you referring to?
The Musaru Cup.
The Musaru
Yeah.
Cup. The Musaru Cup.
So I've cut you your masks.
Yeah, I've got the masks. Yeah. I've got to do them as well.
Yeah, you just need to paint them on. Yeah.
So I've got to get that done. I've got to make a move on that. So, anyway.
Just remember to go a bit lighter on the painting than you otherwise would.
So you don't bleed underneath.
Well, no, because like you can get like quite a significant.
Yeah.
You can. It's easy to just go. Oh, let me just make sure that I've got proper opacity, and then it becomes like this embossed.
Yeah, you know what I thought I'd do with
Unless you want the embossed look.
No, I'll put your paint mask on, and I'll get like a little bit of foam or something and do that technique where you just dab it on, like dry, like you're doing paint chips.
Oh,
or chipping.
Yeah. So just very lightly. So basically, when you pull the mask off, it's going to be already pre-chipped.
Yes.
I like where you're
I
going.
thought I'd try that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way of doing it.
I was laying in bed the other day thinking, how am I going to do that? And suddenly went ding.
Sure that wasn't the microwave?
Oh, it might have been.
The microwave. In other news, I watched a Paul Budzik video the other night. Yeah. And it was regarding the Tamiya P38.
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, yeah.
And the
one that you've built already?
No, this is the Tamiya.
Oh, okay.
Tamiya,
right.
Which everyone claims is a fantastic kit.
Yeah.
And he's done videos in the past, or maybe not videos, but he's certainly talked a lot on his blog about the other P38 kits and all the difficulties he had to go through to, get it just straight. Anyway, so he picked it up and he said it was like the closest thing you can get to going back to your childhood. And like being able to build a kit and not care about the details and just have fun.
Yeah.
In other words, it's a perfect kit.
Yes. Well, it's the same with the Phantom. They're saying that's almost a perfect kit. Couple of very, very tiny, small things. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Yeah. Because when you're a kid, you're ignorant of like fit issues and accuracy issues and things like that.
Yeah, I was the same. Yeah.
And it's like you don't have to worry about those with this Tamiya kit because it's perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. I'm just so looking forward to this new Katare Spitfire. I've seen some close-up shots.
Have you seen the
they've got the screw heads going into the metal, and the metal is bowed in from the screw heads. They've gone that far into the detail that even on the inside of the cockpit, you've got the reverse oil canning.
Yeah.
It's just they've just gone above and beyond.
Oh, they're setting another benchmark, which I didn't even think was possible.
Yep. Exactly.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. It just makes you think what it's going to be like in the next 10 years. It's just going to be insane.
Well, once you reach that point of 100% replication of a real life, object, what's the next level after that? Cloning tiny human beings to fly them around, I presume.
So what's the appropriate pronunciation?
Katare. I'm pretty sure it's Katare.
Is it?
Katari.
Yeah. All right. It's a bird.
It's kingfisher.
Yeah. Like our kookaburra.
Yeah. Except New Zealand.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So
New Zealand, they got some of the weirdest animals. Flightless parrot.
So later we'll be talking about the Lancaster.
Well, yes, we'll be talking about border wars.
Right, yeah. And with the controversy surrounding that, some people are. I've already heard that some people are cancelling their pre-orders of the Lancaster.
I reckon we'll have an in-depth discussion on this later.
That's true. But specifically, what there was one of the sort of comments that I saw about it was, it's a shame because of what's probably the greatest kit, blah blah blah. And as soon as I read that, I thought, you know what, the Qatari Spitfire is probably the greatest kit now.
Yep.
Well, that's a big call to say that before it's actually in your hands.
Well, no one's had the Lancaster in their hands either.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right?
We've had some sprue shots. We've had some sprues in our hands.
And no matter how amazing the Lancaster is, there are levels of detail being hit on the Spitfire that the Lancaster will never hit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's bigger, and that's the only thing it's got going for it over this Spitfire that's coming out.
Because they're doing a 48 or 30-second scale? 30-second scale, the Spitfire.
Always 30-second scale, yeah.
For that amount of detail, it'd be too hard to do in 48.
Yeah, you wouldn't bother because But
then again, Beacon models. Yeah. I saw some shots of their Messerschmitt 109
and 144,
1 to 144 scale.
Yeah.
They've got rivet detail.
Yeah.
Now that is pretty freaking amazing in my books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at that scale.
That scale, I think it was .005 mil or something. The details. It was just it just blew my mind when I saw it. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, those boys are kicking some goals for sure.
Yeah, there was modern technology now. We just anything's possible these days.
I don't think it's modern technology because the moulding technology hasn't changed so much. It's the
Tooling.
detail they're putting into the tooling.
Tooling's changed a lot.
Oh, no, they went from steel to aluminium. That was about it.
But
What's
nowadays
changed
now they're using computers to do all the tooling.
Well, yeah.
Whereas before it was all done by hand.
But it's not just that. You've also got to marry that up with the tweaking of the injection molding machines to be able to get that level of detail in the first place, right? Without getting short shots, without getting flash, without getting any of all those sort of production issues that you have to iron out.
Yeah, I think the Hobby Boss has a problem with short shots too. We report about their Chinooks. 48 scale Chinooks have got major short shots at the front section.
Oh, really?
Yeah, lots of people are having to rebuild the whole fronts of their Chinooks.
See, I'd be going back to the place where I bought it and saying, "No, sorry,
Yeah,
I want a new. Give me another kit."
yeah,
Because you know, and I've talked about this, banged on about this before. For some reason, modelers put up with all this.
yeah, no, we shouldn't.
I mean, if I go to McDonald's and order a hamburger and it comes out without pickles or without the cheese, I'll take it back and say, no, it's wrong. So I'm happy to do that for a $3 burger, and yet we're expecting as modelers to hang on to a $30, $40, $50, $100 kit and put up with inconsistencies in production.
Yeah.
Nah, sorry, sunshine.
I think with some of us though, it's
I agree.
I think we're just too stubborn to let it beat us.
Well, we're too stupid, I think. It's about
I'm
time.
not stupid. I'm just stubborn.
No, well, isn't stubborn a form of stupidity?
Could be.
I mean, it's time that we sort of stood. I mean, you know, we wouldn't accept that sort of stuff in anything else we buy, but we do in models for some reason, and it's just not acceptable.
No.
Yeah, imagine if you had like a kit car, right? Like you'd paid $20,000 for a kit car, and it came without parts. You'd be saying, "Where's my parts?"
Yeah, where's my engine?
Imagine buying one of those kit aircraft that you build and fly, and you finish building it, and you take off down a runway, and it doesn't fly. I mean, you know, come on.
Speaking of kit, have you seen what's coming out next year from America?
No, what?
The Jetson.
The Jetson car?
No, it's
What?
The Jetson is basically a cross between a motorcycle and a drone.
Oh.
Full roll cage, enclosed roll cage, single person,
Yep.
and you got 4 engines on each side, 2
Yep.
propeller blades on each engine. And so far, the testing in the States has gone really well, and they're going to start production.
Oh, man.
But as they were saying at the club last night, let's see how CASA handles that if they import them here in Australia. You'll have to get pilot's licenses.
Well, it's not just CASA, it's the FAA over in the States. How
Yeah.
are they going to classify it?
Don't know.
It's just a big rideable drone, to be honest.
Yeah, it is.
It'll run a crop of all the same
You see,
problems that you'll...
they've got it on YouTube, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, but like I said, it'll come a crop of all the issues that people already have with drones. You know, privacy issues. Don't fly it in this zone.
I wonder if he got hard points.
I don't.
That's it. You didn't give me my pickles, McDonald's. Duck, 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 duck. You can tell we haven't been in the studio together for a while, can't you?
You know, I'm barely sort of like trying to keep this conversation on track. You know, like
Why?
I want to talk about certain things which involve sort of like sidetracking it off and going on a tangent with the full intention of bringing it back. But then I can't do the same thing if you guys go off road. You know,
You're doing a very poor job.
well, at least I'm trying. You're the guy you're the head honcho of this podcast, and you're not lifting a finger.
Hey, I'm 50% disabled at the
it.
moment.
50%, yeah, sensory impaired.
Yeah. Sorry, what you say? I can't hear.
No, yeah.
Oh, now I can.
You got headphones on, dude. There's no excuse in here.
Good on you. What do you reckon, guys? We'll do a bit of listener mail.
Yeah, let's do some listener mail.
There'll be a bit there since it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, there's a little bit, so we can sort of dive in and have a look.
Yeah.
And then maybe after that we'll have a break. So I've got a change in the studio. I've got this U-Butte huge screen now. It's an old TV. And so it's all up so we can all read it. So I might even get some of you guys to read some of the mails. So how's that?
Go for it.
All right, and you can take the first one then.
Okay, so the first one is from Brandon Walters. And Brandon says, "Hey, benches, I didn't have time to email you after the Inspiration podcast, but I'm doing so now. Since you mentioned Studio Ghibli and the planes in Porco Rosso, I thought I would jump in with some model-adjacent trivia. The company is named after the Italian Caproni CO 309 Ghibli.
CA 309.
CO.
He's doing Dave.
I did a Dave. Okay. Back to it. So in Porco Rosso, there is a scene showing a Ghibli engine being installed in Marco's plane. The creator of the studio loves flight and released a movie called The Wind Rises, which is a great movie, I've seen it, which is fictionalized of Jiro Horikoshi's life and the work to develop the Zero for Mitsubishi during World War II. Featured in that film are a bunch of planes. Yes, there is a lot of planes in that. As an aside, you should check out the Internet Movie Plane Database, impdb.org. It's a great resource for finding movies featuring planes or identifying which planes are in a movie. Cheers. Brandon from Gulef.
I think
Canada.
it's Gulf in Canada.
In Canada.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I might check that website out.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice
But
to-
no, the Porco Rosso, that's what I like, is the detail he put into his aircraft.
Next one will be from me. We got the basic modeler writes in, and he says, "Hi guys, if the Falcon can have a pseudonym, then I can have one as well. So I am basic modeler from Pascoe Vale, which is a suburb
Not
in
far from us.
suburb in Melbourne. Now for the question. I intend to build a 1/350 scale Bismarck. There are 3 kit choices I'm considering: Tamiya, Trumpeter and Revell. Given the time and expense of building a Bismarck, and after considering all factors, including accuracy, ease of build, and all aftermarket parts available, e.g. guns, decks, etc., which kit would you build if you had to decide now?"
Okay. I've got the Tamiya Tirpitz, which, as we know, is a sister ship to the Bismarck. Being Tamiya, fit is good, but it's a very old mould. So there's a lot of details missing. Trumpeter, well, you can't always trust Trumpeter for detail. Revell, I would, in my personal opinion, I would probably go the Revell boxing.
See, I would lean towards a Tamiya because those ship kits fit together so well. And in
But you'd
regards
be spending
to
a lot more on aftermarket
Yeah,
to accuratise it
yeah,
than
and
you would with the
yeah.
more modern Revell boxing.
100%. So you'd have to sort of, all the small caliber stuff in the gun and the boats, whale boats and all that sort of stuff. You'd have to
Ditch
get
it.
aftermarket stuff.
Correct, yep.
Well, why is he putting Photo Etch on in the first place when his name is Basic Modeler?
Oh, splash.
Splash, because it's a boat we're talking about.
Yeah.
No, well, you got to put railings on a boat. Doesn't look right without railings.
That's true. I mean, plastic railings look terrible.
Oh yeah, they're oversized. But no, honestly, I'd probably go myself. I would go the Revell boxing. I've heard a lot of good reports about that kit.
See, I would probably go the Trumpeter, actually. Because, I mean, Trumpeter's like a good base for
Yeah, but
most
how
aftermarket.
incorrectly is the shape? That's the problem. I watched the thing over the other day about a guy doing a 1/700 scale Missouri from Hobby Boss, which is basically Trumpeter. The amount of putty and carving he had to do to fix the shape of the hull.
I don't really consider shape issues on ships.
And their version of a Chicago piano was a stick with another stick pointing out, so it was one barrel rather than the 4.
You got this poor guy's written in, albeit he's hidden who he is.
And the idea we've all picked different
and we all
ones.
picked different manufacturers.
Yeah. Okay, well, you can disregard mine because I don't know anything about it. I'm less of a ship modeler, right? I'm just going by overall Trumpeter kits tend to get more sort of aftermarket type stuff looked at because everyone already expects them to be under detailed.
Well, I do know for a fact with the Bismarck, with the Tirpitz, there's Edward do a big Ed set, which I've got for my Tirpitz. And that is, I think it's about 8 photo etch frets. There's a lot in there.
Oh, wow.
But as I said, there's nothing wrong with the Tamiya kit.
Yep.
Except it's old and it's lacking a
Yep.
few
So
details.
if you're happy to spend dollars on aftermarkets to bring it up to date, it's the Tamiya. If you're concerned about perhaps accuracy maybe lean
And
towards
I'm
Revell.
pretty sure that Revell also may have a premium edition available, which comes with photo etch and everything.
Okay. Well, there you go, Mr. Basic Modeler.
Hopefully we haven't confused you too much.
Have to find out who that is one day. Yeah.
Well, I think the whole point is that you can't.
All right, Matt Hill's written in, and he says, "Okay, that's it. I've had enough. I was a big fan of Julian previously. I always enjoyed his controversial and adversarial opinions, but to rag on Battlestar Galactica remake has gone too far. You're cut off, Julian. Kind regards to the rest of you." That's from Matt in Tasmania.
Yeah, I don't understand why I didn't like the new version.
I don't understand why I didn't like
That's
the new
great.
Battlestar Galactica. It's awesome.
I've heard rumours there's even going to be another reboot of Battlestar Galactica coming in the next few years.
But what I loved about the reboot is they got the space physics right.
Yes.
I love
Not
that.
as right as The Expanse. That's
No.
the one that has pretty much the best space physics.
But it's not Star Wars where you got spaceships sort of swooping as if they're flying through an atmosphere
Yeah,
and vacuum.
exactly. Yeah, and making
Come
noises.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
There's nothing
come
worse
on.
than a space battle and you can hear explosions. It's like, you won't hear anything, you're in space. An explosion isn't going to be like bubbly, it's just going to be like this big white flash and that's it.
Yeah.
I do remember playing games like Wing Commander and other sort of space
Yes.
flight sims, and it really just feels like you're not moving anywhere. Like you're just in this ball and you turn around and point it at things.
Yep.
And then things get closer to you.
Which is how it works. Space is different.
It is indeed. Jamie Stokes writes in, "Hi benchers, Dave, in the episode of TV shows that inspire us to model the computer flight simulation game that you were thinking sounded like Crimson Skies." And yes, it was. It was a
Yes, I
great
remember that
computer
one,
game.
yes.
It's about a band of sky pirates fighting evil government forces while based in the Zeppelin. Yes, there were models. They were 1 to 2/85th scale for tabletop board game version. And thanks for the shout out for our South Australian Model Expo, which set a new record of 700 to 750 models on the
Wow.
table, of which 380 of those were for technical judging. And Julian's sign-off is that he never prepares for a sign-off.
Is that true?
It is true.
I'll take that on. Yeah.
Cheers, Jamie Stokes, South Australian Plastic Models Association President. Thanks, Jamie.
Good on you.
And
Thank you
glad
very much,
that
Jamie. I'll use that.
and glad that you had such a successful model show.
Yeah.
That's
Always
awesome.
good to hear.
It'd be nice if we could have one now, State.
Yeah. Oh well, no. Sean Vale Rhodes writes in from Richmond, Virginia. Hi all. Hope this email finds you well. No, my ear's playing up. Sorry,
You have a
Sean.
whinge, Dave.
Hope this email finds you well and emerging from lockdown for good and all. I think we are actually.
I'm pretty sure we are.
I wanted to pass along a YouTube channel that I recently found, myself having gotten back into building model cars more than the usual 48 scale aircraft that I dabbled in. The channel, in case you've never heard of it or watched any of his videos, is called Kenji's Plastic Models.
Yes, I have seen some of that. And he's
Yes.
freaking amazing modeler.
Yeah, I actually often talk about this guy. Yeah.
He's a model builder from Japan, and guys, this gentleman is one of the most fantastic modelers I've ever witnessed. His Plasmo and Uncle Night Shift
Good.
mixed in together.
Yeah.
His video build of the Tamiya Nissan Skyline, where he fashioned working throttle linkage and then attached it to the accelerator pedal and did a lightened instrument panel, is just a sight to see. I've watched 2 of his videos thus far, the other being the build of his Tamiya Lotus Europa. Both have just been mind-blowing. If you've never seen him, you definitely need to give him a watch.
Yeah.
Definitely seen him. Definitely recommend him. He's a very talented builder.
Yeah,
this
there's
guy.
a lot of tricks and things that he does that can apply to all sorts of things.
Yeah.
You know, like he'll use tape to replicate rubber seals, like black electrical tape, I think it is. He'll do things like rattle can for the clear coat, and then he'll immediately come in and airbrush over the top of it with the same paint, but in the bottle, the jar form, and it'll give it a smoother finish. So he gets He doesn't have to build it up. Like
so he uses a rattle can to get a decent base and then finishes it off with an airbrush.
Yeah, so and it goes really smooth afterwards. And he then polishes it for like a whole minute, and it just turns into a gem. You know, it's really incredible.
Yeah, always polishing cars is always a scary thing in case you cut through. Nothing worse than cutting through your paint job. Oh.
And just like his level of masking, scratch building, he's always like using. What do you call it? The two-part epoxy type putty type stuff.
Yeah, the A and B.
Yeah,
type.
yeah. He uses that as his filler, and he'll like roll it on really thin in some places.
Yep.
And he's very concerned with like sort of surface imperfections. He wants everything to be sort of uniform and smooth and.
Yeah, very nice.
While we're talking about people are doing video how-tos. Mike Rinaldi, I've been watching his stuff and it's just awesome.
Yeah, he's another ultra talented guy.
Yeah, and he's just so, and the videos that he does go for about like an hour and a half, and they're slow enough that you can actually sit down with exactly the same model as he has
and just follow along.
Yep. It's the way he does it is just brilliant. Yeah. He's, it's like sitting in a classroom.
Yes.
At school.
So you're physically getting something from it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's really good.
Oh, that sounds great.
So pop along and have a look at his YouTube series that he's got out now. It's just great. Really good.
Totally agree, mate.
All right. I think we might have a quick break and a word from one of our sponsors, and we might come back and have a look at what's new in the modelling world, because I'm pretty sure that the Falcon has got something to say about that.
Oh, groovy.
Rightio, we'll be back very shortly. Whether you build aircraft, armour, ships, science fiction, cars or figures, the Fine Scale Modeller magazine provides the how-to information you need to take your modelling to the next level. In each issue of Fine Scale Modeller, you'll find clear how-to features on model assembly and finishing written by experts, reviews of the hottest model kits and products, tips and techniques for assembling, painting and finishing, as well as inspiring photos of readers' models. To find out how you can get your copy of Fine Scale Modeller, go to www.finescale.com. All right, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back. And the Falcon has written in... Wait a second, cue the Falcon noise. There we go. The Falcon has written in with what's new in the modelling world, and he starts off with, hi Dave, Ian and Julian, aircraft news first up. Micromere are developing a 1/72nd scale Junkers Ju-388. No suggestion of a release date, but the CAD renders look pretty advanced.
Well, there's an aircraft that has been modelled very often. It's an interesting looking. Are you familiar with the Ju-388?
No, I can't say I am.
It's like I think a smaller version of the Junkers 188. I'm pretty sure it's got rear turrets and a few other good bits and pieces and gun pods and. So.
Yeah, I am familiar.
Very interesting looking aircraft.
Haven't you got one of them in resin?
No.
I thought you had one in resin.
No. Never had a 388.
That's an odd bubble canopy.
Yeah. So I said, the front looks for me similar to the 188.
Copper State Models have shown test shots of their forthcoming 32nd scale Cauldron G3, which have received rapturous acclaims from the dedicated World War I aircraft guys. The praise isn't unwarranted, as the model is looking as good as anything Wingnut Wings ever turned out. Rigging it will be frightening, though.
Oh, yeah. Yes. That's a twin tail job, isn't it?
I think it may well be.
So, those World War I twin tail jobs, there's a lot of rigging involved.
Special Hobby have posted renders of a 1/72nd scale Bugatti de Monge 100p racing plane, announced back in 2020. This is the first news since then. The planned for release is apparently later on this year.
I've got one of them, but I've got the 48 scale one from Planet Models, which I built, which looks pretty cool. You got that Bugatti blue.
Yeah.
And it just looks like
it's a beautiful blue.
And it looks like a bat plane. It looks like a bat plane.
Dave, your ability to pronounce the French words is probably better than the English.
Well, I've learnt a little bit of French. So.
You should learn a bit of English.
I only really know one French word.
What's that?
Merde.
Don't forget the omelette du fromage thing that they always.
Fromage.
Apparently that's not correct either. It's something like de fromage or something like that. It's grammatically incorrect, but everyone always uses that one.
Moving on. Special Hobby have announced a family of 72nd scale Curtis P36 family. The first one will be released in 2022.
Yeah.
Did the Australian Air Force have a P36?
I think we may have had one.
Yeah.
That's the Lancer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one. Yeah, we had one and it destroyed in a landing accident.
Oh, okay. Edward, 172nd scale Avia S188 is scheduled.
199,
199, sorry, is scheduled for release in 2022.
Oh, freaking useless aircraft.
Supposedly, it will be a triple boxing containing the S199 early, S199 late, and the CS199 two-seater.
Yeah, let's just get a Messerschmitt 109 and stick a Junkers freaking 88 motor on it, which really throws out the centre of gravity, turns it into a complete slug. Yeah.
S99?
Yeah, the RVS 199, yeah.
The 148 scale S199 from Edward is slated for release in October 2022 at E-Day. It will be a dual version containing two kits. Not finished with Edward just yet. They're planning on releasing a family of 0 models in 172nd scale. No release dates at this time.
Oh, I thought they were doing them in 48. Oh, that's a shame. I was really hoping they were going to do them in 48.
I understood they were doing it in 48, and my understanding is just now doing it in 72nd as well.
Oh, okay, cool. As long as they do them in 48, I'll be happy.
Okay. Vallon will be releasing a 172nd scale de Havilland DH95 Flamingo.
Ooh.
A very elegant 4-engined passenger aircraft from the late 30s. There'll be 3 boxing. One is going to be King's Flight, civil users, and Lady of Hendon / Merlin 4.
By the way,
did they use the Gypsy, the Gypsy engine for
I'm
that?
not sure on that day.
with the Edward Zero, I believe that's a typo. I think it's supposed to be 148.
You do think it is 48?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've seen
Well,
at least for the 48 scale version. That
Yeah,
I
I've
know
seen
that
the build. They've already built one up. They just haven't glued the wings on. And it looks. There's a few things they've got to alter, like the aerial. They've got to change the aerial for the 22 model.
Right.
There's a few other little bits and pieces they've admitted that they've got to change. But from what I saw from the original, the boss of Edward building one, it looks really, really nice.
Yeah.
So you challenging the Falcon there, Julian?
I don't know.
Brave move.
mean, maybe he's right, but I know there's absolutely a 48 scale.
Yeah, that's why I was
one.
surprised because I was in the impression it was 48 scale.
Mm-hmm.
Zvezda have shown CAD renders of a new version of their 48 scale Stormovik. It's a straight wooden wing 2-seater. Good news for everyone is that it won't compete directly with the Tamiya Stormovik. The Tamiya kit has the so-called arrow wing with the swept back leading edges.
Mm-hmm.
Different enough that you can buy both kits with a clear conscience. Zvezda has 3 canopy options: pilot and gunner positions closed, pilot closed and gunner open, and both positions open. Also comes with 2 aircrew figures. Hobby 2000 will be releasing a 48 scale Henschel HS129B2. The good news is that the plastic is Hasegawa. There will be 2 boxing, Eastern Front and North Africa. So basically they've just got the moulds and redoing it.
Yeah. Well, the Hasegawa Henschel was a pretty good kit in my opinion.
Wingsy Kits, new 148 scale Messerschmitt BF 109 E4. It's going to be available in December. And AMG, also known as the Arsenal Modelling Group, have shown box art and fuselage sprue of their 48 scale Hawker Demon 2-seat fighter.
Oh, really? They're going to bring... Oh, nice.
They have already released a nice kit of the very similar Hawker Heart, so it's pleasing to see them expanding the Hawker family.
They're such beautiful aircraft.
And an overlooked range of pre-war fighters.
Stunning looking aircraft, those things.
Absolutely. And very colourful too, because they had the squadron,
colours, on top of the wings and so forth.
And on the tail as well.
Yeah, it just looks amazing.
Absolutely. And I think this is the first time, because Airfix released them back in, they certainly did pretty sure they did the Hawker Heart, didn't they, once upon a time?
Oh, I can't remember.
Anyway. And it's interesting, the Hawker Heart, you can really see the lineage of the Hurricane.
Yeah. It's got basically the same fuselage shape and everything.
Absolutely. Speaking of Airfix, they've announced that they will re-release their ancient 72nd scale Fairy Rotodyne.
Why? It's old. It's old, guys. It's old. Put it to bed. Do a new one.
The Falcon goes on. Wouldn't have thought that anyone would care, but some people on the forum seem really quite happy.
Yeah, we're the people that spend $1,000 on a first release Airfix Spitfire in 72 scale.
Yeah, at least Airfix have the decency to release this in their vintage classic range.
Yes.
All right, that's it for aircraft. Let's move on to military vehicles. Border Models have announced a 35th scale Panzer II OS FL Lush late production. It is not a Reeboks Tasker kit, but a completely new tool from Border. Das Werk have shown box art for their 32nd scale Bruckliga Panzer M48A2 AVLB bridge layer tank. Apparently there's going to be 5 decal options, 4 German and 1 Belgian. What? Another Stug? Yes, another Stug 3 will be released this year. 2021 is now officially the year of the Stug, says the Falcon. Miniart have announced a 32nd scale Stug G3.
35th scale.
What did I say?
32nd scale.
Oh.
You're still stuck in aircraft, dude.
I will reread the line. Miniart have announced a 135th scale Stug 3 OS FG Feb 43 Altec production, and the kit comes with interior and 5 crew figures, and 5 marking options will be included. ICM will be releasing another kit based on their 135th scale G1707 US truck. The new kit is a BM 13-16 on a G1707 chassis with Soviet crew. Vespid Models have announced a 172nd scale Jag Panther G1 late production model.
I haven't heard of Vespid.
No, me neither.
Dragon / Monochrome have released details of their re-release of their 35th scale Panzer II OS F Africa Corps. It appears the bogey housings have been corrected, and the kit will now come with a 3D printed turret bin. That's interesting. Magic tracks are also included.
Oh,
Wow.
there you go.
Trumpeter will be adding to their lineup of World War II railway subjects with a V188 diesel electric locomotive in 135th scale, and these units will move. These units will be used to move the gigantic Dora 80cm gun. Not built in large numbers. Survivors continued in use until the 60s. That's interesting. Box art shows one with a pretty funky camo scheme. That's all for now from the Falcon.
Geez, those people that bought the Doras will be quite happy with that now. They can finally make it complete.
You'd be gutted, because if you built the Dora and then put it on a wooden base only long enough for the Dora,
which should be big enough as it is, because it's a huge kit.
Yeah, but you've got to go and extend it so you can put the 2 locomotives on.
Yeah. That's it.
Oh, jeez.
You guys got any news on kits or anything?
Not really.
No.
Not really. The only thing I've really been paying attention to is the new Zero from Eduard.
Yeah.
It looks really nice,
Looks very, very nice.
I was talking about it, and with what sort of came up in conversation is that there are some models that really capture the likeness of a model of the plane.
Yep.
Right? And like, say, for example, one of them would be like the Revell JU88 in 32nd scale.
Yes.
When you see that built up, it really sort of looks like a Ju-88.
Yeah.
Like something about the canopy
It's got
and
the
the
presence.
engines. It really has that undefinable sort of thing about it. And this Zero is starting to look like one of them.
I guess the Ju-88 would have to be one of the most versatile aircraft that the Germans produced in the Second World War.
Oh, it was used for nearly everything.
You know, medium bomber, tactical bomber,
Night fighter,
anti-ship
Yeah.
Bomber aircraft.
mine laying.
Yeah.
It's a shame that, there's a fantastic kit of it, but who's got the space to justify a 30-second scope
Yeah, I know
Ju-88?
it. Yeah, I know it.
I know who. All the people who want to buy a Lancaster.
Yes, that's it.
And speaking of which, Julian, you cleverly brought us into our...
It was an unintentional segue, but a welcome one nonetheless.
You very cleverly brought us into our discussion today, which is border wars, in which we're going to have a bit of a look at the stoush that's going on between Border Models and...
Isn't this the second time they've been in the stoush?
Wingnut Wings. Well, Border...
Who was it that had that really nasty email where they were accusing
It was
the other?
Border and Riffield Models, wasn't it?
Yeah,
They
something
had a
like that.
stash.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I tell you what, the model manufacturers over there, they really fight with the gloves off, don't they?
oh, do they ever?
So let's take a step back.
Well, what happened last time was, Border had a go at Riffield for supposedly stealing their molds
Yes,
and releasing a kit.
yes.
And now it's sort of the shoe on the other foot.
That's the funny part about it. But let's bring all of our listeners up to speed.
All right.
So, apparently, Wingnut Wings has issued a cease and desist against Border Models. And I will read you, mind you, this has been posted by Border Models, just the cease and desist on their Facebook page. And it reads, and I quote, "To whom it may concern, we represent Wingnut Wings Limited, Wingnut and its principal, Peter Jackson. We are aware that Border Model is selling goods owned by Wingnut specifically, but not limited to, a model kit Avro Lancaster B Mark 1/3, kit number, and they put the kit number after it, without authority to do so. Wingnut owns the intellectual property rights to the mould from which the kit was created, and therefore the kit's created from the mould. Wingnut has not granted any third party the authority to sell or assign any rights to the mould. Therefore, it is our belief that Border Model unlawfully appropriated the mould from Wingnut's mould manufacturer. Border Model notes on its website and in social media postings that Border Model ended up acquiring the mould for this kit from Wingnut. There was no such acquisition. Your unauthorised actions are a violation of our client's rights of copyright and trademark ownership and the laws prescribing or protecting commercial misappropriation and conversion of property, misleading advertising, unfair competition and unfair business practices, among others. Accordingly, on behalf of our client, we hereby demand your immediate compliance in the cease and desist, unquote. Well, shots fired.
There's one shot fired.
Border Model.
Please don't read this one, because this is just a long vomit of and he just repeats himself over and over again. It's basically just a social media post by some guy at Border Model.
It's probably the same guy who did the other guy.
Yeah. He's basically it's not very coherent, and he just repeats himself repeatedly. And
True, but I am going to read parts of it in the interest of fairness. And
for example, he keeps saying Wingnut Wings as one word and all in capitals.
Yeah, well, maybe English isn't their first language.
Well, I think he's just copied and pasted it repeatedly. But he keeps putting certain words box art and Avro in capitals. It's like he's just one of the people who just loves hitting the caps lock button, you know.
So here is a statement issued from Border Model in regards to the Lancaster 1/32 scale, which release is imminent. And quote, this is quote what Border Model is saying. We released the 132nd Arvo Lancaster with full interior 2 months ago.
Really? I haven't seen it.
We did not mention any words about Wingnut wings in all our official presentations. We did not use any rendering used by their company. The only box art used is from Mr. Mark Postlethwaite, the artist from whom we purchased the rights to use this Lancaster painting, although all modelers know that this kit first belonged to Wingnut Wings. It goes on, and I'm still quoting. 1 month later, actually, I'll read further up.
It's not. You're going to struggle to find anything in here worth reading because it's
basically, what Border Molds are saying is that the factory owners who had the molds or produced the molds
Haven't been paid,
and as such, despite complaints back to Wingnut Wings, and apparently Wingnut hadn't responded to any of their emails since the early part of 2020, and they haven't paid the fees or anything at all. So finally in June in 2021, the factory owner sent them a final email, which he basically said to Wingnuts, or demanded to Wingnuts, that if you don't pay for the tooling and give reasonable response, an explanation within a month, we will dispose of the Lancaster moulds by themselves. So after a month, the factory hadn't received any positive response and certainly no payment. So they went on and sold the moulds to Border. That's what it looks like they did. And there we are.
Yep.
So now we're in this huge war, border war. Do you like the way I do that, border war?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty clever.
But then again, look, in all honesty, I think there's only less and less people are going to be buying this kit. Was it Lucky Model, I think, over in Japan, or Hobby Easy, one of those two, have listed the price in Australian dollars at over 1,100 Australian dollars.
Yeah, $1,200, I've seen it.
And look, I don't mind spending money on a decent kit, but that is outrageous.
Yeah.
Absolutely outrageous. Look, from what I heard is, Wingnut Wings probably doesn't have a leg to stand on going against Border, but they can get onto distributors. If they scare enough distributors, you'll only be able to get it through China, because no one will be game enough to put it in their catalogue.
Well, I really don't know that much about the legal side of things, so I'm a bit sort of up in the air about this as to where Wingnut Wing stands.
Well, like, thinking about it from a legal standpoint, I would imagine that even if you wanted to sell those molds on, you wouldn't be able to, because you don't own them, right?
Well, if they haven't been paid for, who owns them then? That's the problem.
Yeah, but see,
I can see both sides of the fence here.
It's
If I've made something for someone, for example, I get commissioned to build a kit for someone, and they turn around and go, "Well, I'm not paying for it. I don't want it anymore."
Yeah, but
I'm in my full right to sell that to someone else.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing, because you're just selling one unit, right? What they're selling is the intellectual property.
Yeah.
Right? That's not the same thing. That's a copyright.
But then again, when has that stopped any Chinese company?
No,
really.
it hasn't.
In all honesty,
Yeah,
they're renowned for ripping everyone else off.
Well,
the Chinese
not just Chinese companies. I mean, you don't have to be a Chinese company just to rip people off. There's been
but
plenty of other examples.
They're well known for it.
Oh, they're renowned, absolutely. And
well, it's a reflection of their government, and that
they're lax commercial laws.
Well, not just that, they're anti-Western stance at the moment. China's got this ever since the Red Emperor got in charge there. They've gone so anti-West.
So, all things like that aside, they're appropriate, like the way things should be done, legally speaking, I think, because I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
Is that you would be able to just sue Wingnut Wings and go to get your money.
Yep.
Right? But you still wouldn't be able to sell those molds on, because that'd be like, let's say, for example, Northrop didn't get paid by the US government. And then they're like, well, fine, we'll just sell the blueprints to China or to Russia, right?
Gee, they'd be dragged over. They'd be done for treason.
But there's a big difference between that and just selling on an actual individual plane.
Yep.
You're selling the capability to manufacture the plane.
Yep.
I think there's a difference here between the actual molds and the intellectual rights that went into the production of those molds.
Yes.
So Wingnut contracted or had a contract or a business relationship with a mold manufacturer in China. So they gave all their intellectual knowledge for that particular kit to that manufacturer to just produce the molds themselves.
Yep.
So while the molds might be owned by the manufacturer still because he hasn't been paid for it, and you would have assumed that they should have gone to court and got a ruling from a judge.
So that's
the intellectual.
That to me looks like Border or whatever the mold manufacturer was playing the long game. They've done this probably deliberately, not sent any letters out, like as you said, a pay up or else, in the hope that they get no response and they go, oh, goody, it's ours now, we can do what we want.
Yeah, but apparently the mold manufacturer did send letters to Wingnut, and Wingnut hadn't responded.
Lawyers?
Or assuming, I don't know.
Yeah.
So the mold itself, so the mold producer, manufacturer should have gone to court and got a ruling. But even though they still own the metal that the mold is produced with, the intellectual side that went into
the R&D and everything,
still correctly belongs to Wingnut.
But is Wingnut
It's
still?
the
Is
same as
Wingnut,
saying-
the big question is Wingnut still a viable company?
It might be on paper.
On paper,
On
it might
paper
be,
only, yeah, right.
It's the same as saying I write a song, or I produce a song, and then a record company produces it, puts it onto a vinyl record, and then that record producing company who makes records
Doesn't get paid. They then pass on the molding of that record onto another company to produce, who then on-sells it. It's still my intellectual property because the rights
I'm
to
the
the song.
singer.
Yeah,
I
you're
still own the rights to the song.
You're the third party. You're not the one doing it.
Absolutely. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out moving forward. And I think, Ian, that you perhaps were correct in saying the next thing for Wingnut to do is to perhaps send legal letters out to all
I would say that's what their plan is.
to all distributors.
Yeah, that's the only way they're going to stop it.
Because
Because we know, look, everyone knows when it comes to dealing with the Chinese companies, especially
it's difficult. In
they don't
this
care.
current day as well.
They don't care
In the
about what
current
we
political
Westerners
climate.
think.
Yeah.
They don't care. As far as they're concerned, we're under them, and they can do what they want because we're not worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean, like there are knockoff Mercedes-Benz floating around in China where they've literally reverse engineered a Mercedes-Benz.
Well, look at their Air Force. Half their Air Force planes were ripped off from the Russians.
Yeah, but that's not quite the same thing because they still have to buy the engines from Russia.
Yeah, because they can't make engines
But I mean,
themselves.
if they're willing to go to the extent of reverse engineering an entire car and selling it within their own market and like completely ignoring any legal cease and desist.
It's funny because remember the Russians did that with the B-29. They went as far. They got their hands on a B-29. They pulled it apart, measured every nut and bolt, and even reverse engineered a camera that was found on board to build the Tupolev. I can't remember what the number of the Tupolev was. Which basically it's a B-29 but with Russian markings.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? America's not going to be able to sue Russia about it. And at that time,
Interesting fact, the B-29 was more expensive than the Manhattan Project.
yes, it was. Yes.
There's also the one distinct thing is like you're talking about like government manufactured versus privately owned business. You know, it's rather than what's it, corporate espionage? It's actual espionage, right?
Yeah, but that's all changing in China now because all these Chinese arts are mysteriously disappearing.
Yeah, the ones
and going into jail and
ones who toe the line aren't.
Well, look at a lot of the famous Chinese performers, singers, and so forth have all of a sudden disappeared.
No, there's some of them who are still quite popular. Jackie Chan is very
Yeah,
popular.
but he's not based in mainland China.
No, but he toes the line.
He does toe the line. Yes. Yes. Fun fact: his parents own or used to own. I don't know if they still do. Had a restaurant in Canberra.
Even more fun fact: his mother lives in Melbourne.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, Melbourne's a nicer place to live than Canberra.
Oh, it is. Yes.
Well,
Canberra's.
don't be just on Canberra. Canberra's
no.
a beautiful city.
I'm sure
If you like roundabouts.
I love Canberra. It's
No,
gorgeous.
I'm just saying, just because there's, it's just a bigger city, so there's more to see.
In Melbourne, yeah.
Yeah, and more places to shop, etc. Like,
What do you got in Canberra? You got Lake Burley Griffin, and you got the War Memorial, which
War
is
Memorial.
always amazing place
Yeah.
to go. Any
But, I mean,
visitors that come to Australia, you got to go there.
As someone who's been to Canberra, it just seems like there's very little there, and all the shops close early and things like that.
It's like stepping back to the 50s.
It's moved on a little bit now. You guys haven't been there for. When's the last time you were there?
I'll be well over 10 years.
Yeah, things have changed.
Well, it has that small town feel.
It kind of does, and it kind of has this modern city feel at the same time. It's an interesting mix.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
too full
Canberra.
of politicians. That's the problem. Isn't
Well,
it?
Well, that's
That's the big thing. It's like Washington.
Yeah.
In America, Washington is full of politicians, and it'd be so much better if it wasn't full of politicians. Because when there's no politicians, the air smells sweeter.
Well, let's get
Is
back.
that why people like the seaside? Because there's unlikely to be any politicians out at sea.
Exactly. Yes.
Let's get back on track. So
That's right.
This is going to be really interesting. So I think what Border is going to have to do. I know what Border will probably do. They'll ignore it.
Of course I will.
Well,
And-
if you scroll down to the very last line,
Of their
Yep.
statement. Yeah.
and it says, "Either way,
Quote.
we will."
Quote.
Yeah, quote. Either way, we will release Lancaster.
Unquote.
With 4 exclamation marks.
Yeah, meaning that we're releasing it no matter what
Yeah,
happens.
so you're a Western company. We don't care. We'll do what we want to do.
But it got a little bit personal because Border also wrote this in the second last paragraph, and again I'm quoting, "At the end, I really hope Peter Jackson can reopen my modelling company. We would love to compete and battle with you in this industry, full stop. If not, then I think it's better for you to make movies, full stop, unquote."
Yeah, it's
End
basically,
quote.
Can I just say something? This guy from Border, after his last rant, and you might want to beat this, but he seems like a bit of an arsehole. Honestly, he seems like a bit of an arsehole, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
it's not a professional.
He's not. He's a bully.
Yeah. Well,
Put it plain and simple, he's a bully boy. But he's a little fella too.
Well, it's
He's short man syndrome.
No, hang on. You're doing exactly the same as he did when he wrote that again about Peter Jackson. So, it's going to be interesting. I think the only option open to Border model now is to sell direct to
China.
sell direct to people who want to buy the kit.
Oh, they get it from
That's the only-
the company. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see him. As you said, Ian, I think major distributors will get very nervous and cold feet.
As soon as they get the letters from the lawyers, they'll go, "No, sorry guys, we're staying away from that one."
Yeah.
And at the price they're asking for it, it's ridiculous anyway.
Well,
I've got so many people who, once they saw the price, have cancelled their orders.
so they were making. They're going to make what 500, weren't they? Was the
That's
original
what they
run or
originally
something?
said, but you know what they're like. They'll just pump them out.
If people are buying them,
Well, yeah, this is the classic limited edition, and then we'll do
Reboxing.
another line of them.
Yeah.
And then another one.
And then another one. Since they're so popular, we're going to do it a third or fourth line.
Yeah, and while they're hot, they're limited,
Yeah.
and it comes with a limited edition level price tag.
It's kind of like the Rolling Stones, the last world tour, and they kept going round and round. And again, the next one's on the world
Yeah,
final
there's a
world
lot.
tour.
There's more than just the Stones who do that. That's an old trick.
But yeah, that's it's very interesting, and
So
feathers are flying.
So here comes a question: are we actually going to see this kit ever built, or in the hands of modelers?
Oh, I reckon there's a chance you will. Like I said, the Chinese don't care; they'll release it. Well, it's like this: if a Western company tries to sue a Chinese company, are they going to win? Are the Chinese company just going to turn around and go, "Oh, we better pay up"? They're not. Their government, they go, "Oh, step behind their government." Their government will put both middle fingers up at you and go, "Nah, nah, nah, nah. What are you going to do? We're in China."
You realise we're probably going to be targeted now by
The Chi-Coms.
yeah. Oh dear.
I don't care. They can target me all they want.
That's him at the front door now.
That's it.
Oh yeah,
Bring it on.
you've got one of those alerts on your phone for
Yeah.
when someone rings the doorbell,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it just went off.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, look,
So
a big
this is
part of
my-
our modelling industry is based in China, like Dragons in China, Takums in China, borders in China, rifles in China. There's more, right? There's
Trumpeter, hobby boss.
yeah.
Just keep going.
There's a huge portion of our hobby that's in
So-
China. You can't avoid them. You really can't, unless you want to buy just Japanese kits, Airfix and Revell, right? Most of the other companies are going to be in China.
So there'd be a level of nervousness if you're a startup kit manufacturer, because no doubt you're going to go to China because that's where you can get a cheap mould produced. There'd be a level of nervousness in going over there to get your mould made now based on this.
I could be wrong, but I do remember many years ago when a modeller scratch built a 1/32 scale B25 and got the moulds and was going to start producing them in China, and he had everything stolen from him. And one of the major manufacturers in China started producing 32nd scale B25 Mitchells, and this guy got absolutely nothing. And he tried lawyers, he tried everything. And because he was dealing with China, got absolutely nowhere. He lost everything. Basically, I think pretty much nearly pushed him out of the hobby. And that's the problem when you're dealing with China. Look, as Julian said, we don't have a choice. When it comes to models,
We do
they're
have
that if you want certain kits, certain subjects, you've got no choice but to go through a Chinese company.
Yeah, because they're the ones producing at the moment.
Correct.
So it'd be interesting to see. I mean,
Yeah, all I'm saying is that if you want to take the high horse and say I'm not buying anything from China anymore because of these kind of tactics,
Yeah, just put yourself out.
Realistically, you're probably not going to do it. If you want to build the models you want to build, you're probably not going to be able to do it. But if you want to be able to hold it against border model, that's a much easier thing to do, right? Because they don't have a very, very impressive lineup to begin with.
No, and going off their GM's comments online and that, they're just a pack of turds.
geez,
Well,
you got strong feelings about this one.
It just for me, it's happened so often when all these people that put all these work in and have it stolen by some Chinese company,
Well, it's
and
not
there's
just
nothing
China,
anyone
yeah,
can
but it's
do
not
about
just-
it. But it's
let's-
predominantly the Chinese companies.
So let's also sort of open it up a little bit more. It's not just Chinese companies. It's people who do recastings, for example, and sell them online.
Recasts are the people that should be buried.
Yeah.
Because that's a big thing, and that happens. And where do most of these recasts come from? Which country does them all?
I think
Majority
it's,
of them.
I don't know because I've never bought a recasting, so I couldn't tell you.
I haven't.
No, to be honest,
No,
I
I
didn't even hear about recastings for the longest time.
Yeah, recasting. It's still a big thing. I see it online nearly every.
Well, it's funny.
once a
Chris
year.
Chris Meddings, he was just writing just the other day on Facebook about it, and one guy who's a really talented artist, he was gutted because he had his subject stolen and
basically
recast.
a whole range of what he's done.
Yeah, and to me, the border models thing is very similar. This is intellectual property we're talking about.
Yep.
And as such, even if I was interested in buying the Lancaster, I now won't, knowing
I am the same.
knowing that border never purchased the intellectual property rights to that particular kit.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
And they use and using the excuse, well, they didn't pay for the molds. Stiff. That's got nothing to do with them.
Exactly right.
That's got to do purely between the mold manufacturer and Wingnuts. The mold manufacturer should never have sold on the molds.
they could have melted it down. They could have broken them. They could have done anything except
The best
sold
thing
them
they
on.
would have done would have been, as Julian said, melt them down. Fair enough, we've now lost the Lancaster, but at least we know that the people who put all that hard work into that subject, and they would have spent a lot of years doing R&D on that and tweaking it and getting it to Wingnut specs, to have all that basically taken from under their feet, and they're not going to see a cent out of all their work they've put in. All their work and time has now gone and been hijacked by another company overseas.
I mean, that said, I mean, like the people who did all that work now work for Qatari.
Yeah, they're Qatari,
right?
yeah.
And so they're already disgruntled employees to begin with,
Yeah.
right? To some degree, right? I don't know how much, but you know what I mean. Like they're like, oh, we want to do work,
And look, they
we're
got
not.
everyone knows they got pretty much shafted by Wingnuts.
Oh, it wasn't a good break.
No, they got shafted. They got shafted.
Well, even if they didn't get shafted, because I don't know about that. It's like they wanted to keep doing that kind of work and they weren't able to because they got laid off or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. It's from the way I look at it, it's like even if you're passionate about your job and you love designing models, right? It's still just a job. And once you've been given the flick, just let it go. And if you want to keep doing it, you just do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right. It's really just a grievance between Peter Jackson and what he thinks is his.
Yeah.
Right? And it is his. Right? It
Intellectually,
absolutely is his, and they shouldn't be able to access it. And if they wanted to pursue the matter, they would have just taken up legal action and gotten, seek the actual payments that they were supposed to be given. That's all it is.
Yep.
Like, I mean, you don't get to just, oh, this is mine now.
Yeah.
I'm just keeping it.
So,
and I'm going to sell it to someone.
So, in good conscience, as modelers, there's no way we could purchase this kit.
Yeah.
I won't, no.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there's going to be some models out there who are like, I don't care, I want to get what I want. And, whoever gives it to me.
Well, isn't that going to be an interesting conversation at the next model show where one of these kits are sitting on the table?
Well, it's up to the...
Because
look, it is up to the individual.
I know it's up to the individual, but that's like... You couldn't walk into a model show with a recast and put it on the table, and
if I'd bought the Lancaster and I'd built it, I don't feel like I could show it in public.
No, or even post pictures.
Even if I knew that no one would actually come up to me and sort of corner me and say, you bought this kit from them, like even then, even if I knew they wouldn't be able to do that to me, I still wouldn't want to be in that room knowing that everyone's sort of giving me the evil eye.
The side glance. Oh,
yeah, you'd be ostracised.
Yes. Traitor. You're a traitor to the hobby.
In a way. I mean, maybe it's not as bad as I'm imagining it, but, given the fact that I'm imagining it, I wouldn't want to feel that anyway, even if it's all in my own head.
And the price they're asking for is stupid.
It's such an interesting discussion because I remember, like, if I, for example, want to go and produce a model of a Mercedes-Benz,
you're going to get permission from Mercedes.
I have to pay a licensing fee or get permission, like you say, to go and do that. Even, although this upsets me, it ticks me off a bit. Like let's say an F-111 aircraft, for example. Mm-hmm. If I want to manufacture them as a kit, I have to go to the current or whoever owns the rights to that.
General Dynamics, yeah.
Yeah, General Dynamics.
Yeah, what's it? Boeing makes. Yeah, Boeing make every kit manufacturer slap a little Boeing sticker on all of their kits.
Yeah, but that kind of ticks me off a little bit because public money was used to research and develop and pay for that aircraft.
Yep.
So then why, therefore, as a taxpayer, well, not specifically because I'm obviously not a US citizen, but if I was a US citizen, I'd be pissed off that I can't produce a kit because, and my taxpayer dollars have already paid for the R&D of it, yet I've got to pay a licensing fee or whatever to the manufacturer.
You notice a lot of ways too, like how they get away with it too, like they misspell, deliberately misspell. Like the amount of kits I used to see with, it's supposed to say Continental Tires, but it's totally spelt differently. But it looks like it says Continental Tires at a quick glance.
Continental.
Yeah, and that's how they get away with it.
Yeah.
Look, Andrea Miniatures was great for that.
Yeah.
With their figures range. Like, they had Indiana Jones, which was called, I think, Tomb Raider or Tomb something. They had a Spider-Man figure, which they called the Arachnid.
Yeah.
And so they changed all the names. The figures were who they were. You had a Conan, which was, I think, called the Barbarian King or something like that. And they all looked like Arnie, and they looked like Spider-Man, they looked like Harrison Ford and all these other... But because the names were changed,
yeah,
they could get away with it.
Yeah, it's a common thing. A lot of manufacturers will do that now. Yeah,
But see, I was looking to refresh the podcast with some new intro music and everything, and I thought I'll do the right thing. I found one that I settled on. I'm not going to say what it was. So I approached Sony and said, hey, I'd like, a costing of how much it's going to cost me to have
Use
this,
this.
use this.
Use this soundbite.
Yeah, they got back to me.
Never got back to you.
Yeah,
Never got back
it's
to me.
because you're small time. They don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter when
Until you actually do it, then
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and if I had gone, oh, well, that means, if they haven't answered me, that means it's okay and I'll use it, you watch it would have come down like a ton of
course.
bricks.
Yeah.
Just getting back to what we were talking about.
Well, that's intellectual properties, hence
Yes,
the
yes,
reason
yeah,
why
yeah,
I brought it up.
Intellectual property. Yeah. Oh, and see, now I've forgotten. Now I've lost my train of thought. God. Ah.
Isn't it so frustrating? It's on the tip of your tongue and you just can't get it out.
So it's unbelievably frustrating. It's almost as frustrating as having like one ear blocked.
Yeah, no, don't start me on that one. Oh, it's killing me, man. It's killing me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. I mean, I just wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to buy this kit, and I wouldn't want to be known for buying it. In clear conscience.
Agree 100%.
You know.
I just enjoy watching the feathers fly.
Well, there is part of that as well. It's sort of like a
It's like
punch
watching
up.
it. It's like watching a slow motion train wreck as it all unfolds.
You would hope that they paid a pretty penny for those molds.
Well, they talk about that the reason why the kit is so expensive is I guess they'll go into it a bit there. And again, I'm quoting from Border. The article about infringement of intellectual property rights is even more ridiculous. Everyone knows that military models are not copyrighted. Neither we nor the factory keep or use any of their company CAD drawings, which I think Wingnut Wing employees know. The factory only has 3D drawings of the parts used to design the moulds. And quite well, that there is sort of, as far as I'm concerned, sort of a slam dunk.
But the thing that gets me though is this character is doing the opposite for what he cracked the sads over with his last big rant
Against Ryefield models.
Against Ryefield.
Yeah.
So he's done. Oh, I'm standing on the high ground with Ryefield, but don't look, but I'm pinching this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so with the Boeing type thing, you know, with the manufacturer of the real aircraft,
Yep.
and how much control they have over your ability to make a model of their subjects. It's a pity that whoever owns the rights to Lancasters, right, doesn't have the ability to pull weight on this, and then say, well, we gave Wings the right to manufacture this.
Avro doesn't exist anymore, do they?
No.
No, they don't. But you know who does exist?
Who?
Is
BAE.
No. The engine manufacturer.
Rolls-Royce.
Rolls-Royce.
I wonder if they might. Yeah, but Rolls-Royce, for them,
Yeah,
they'd look at that and go, meh, and move on.
Yeah, but
That's under them.
But then there's also things like patents expire. Like your ability to own the rights to something will only last so long. And that's why certain companies will continue to manufacture things, even if it's just 1 or 2 units or whatever it is per year, just enough to tick the box to say that we still manufacture it and we've made these changes, and so you can't make it.
Yes.
You know? They do weird, tricky
I know exactly
things
what you mean.
like that.
Yeah, that part was used in that aircraft, but we can utilise that part for something else. So we're going to continue using that part and manufacturing that part.
And those sort of laws, depending on what it is, last different times. Like for songs, it's 100 years. Copyright on medical stuff.
If you ever wondered why
timelines.
Plasmo uses classical music in all of his videos, it's because that's copyright free now.
Well,
and I believe it's not. I believe it's not 100 years. I think it's something like X number of years after the composer's death.
No. This is where people get caught.
Yeah, because it's not just the music as it's written.
Yes,
is copyright free, but the rendition of it
is copyrighted.
Not.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right.
So, for example, if the New York Philharmonic Orchestra.
Philharmonic.
Yes.
Go on.
If they do a rendition of Tchaikovsky's 1812 and they play that this year and then publish it, that's fine for them.
Yeah.
But if I use their rendition of it on this podcast, I'm in breach of copyright because they are the ones who who are actually performing it.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, what are you worried about? You own a banjo, for God's sakes, mate. You can pick any song you want now and just you play your banjo.
Well, as long as the song is
So-
100 years plus.
So
yeah.
all this talk about patents and copyrights and stuff maybe seem pretty boring, but these are...
it's a big part of our hobby. Underlying part of it.
It's not just that. It's a big part of life today because, like...
Well,
you know,
today's societies, everyone's too quick to sue.
I know of people who have whipped out their phone and filmed their friends having some fun at a party, and because music was playing in the background, the entire video got silenced because it got automatically recognized by the algorithms and copyright claimed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's just something that they posted up on Facebook to their friends. Like no one, it wasn't published in large.
Yeah.
It was just, and because like,
Jeez, it's so 1984 these days, isn't it?
well,
It's just all
the
well
thing
in
is,
the world.
if it's posted on Facebook, Facebook has an obligation, right, to be in good faith in keeping with copyright law.
Yeah, but geez, Facebook
to be able that they have to pursue it. They have to pursue it because if they don't, then
They're liable.
yeah, they're liable.
Yep. Even though we all know Facebook is a pretty dodgy company. to
Of
begin
course.
with.
Oh, now, come on. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Get all sorts of trouble. Let's stick with modelling stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is that this is the world we live in now. And these things are things you have to have at least a basic understanding of if you want to comprehend.
Why
how
can't we go back 100 years and settle these things with a good old fashioned duel?
Do you mean a duel with a sword, or do you mean a duel with a pistol?
Either way, it'd be entertaining. More entertaining than courtroom battles.
No, let's have a duel with a wet fish. That'd be very
Wet fish
entertaining.
slapping.
Yes. Let's invoke Monty Python.
Yes, the fish
Oh,
slap.
what do we invoke? The rendition of Australia as it is done in The Simpsons, and we use the boot.
The boot, the big
Yeah,
boot.
he's got the big boot that he polishes up and then kicks a butt up
him
the
out.
arse with, supposedly.
Yes, we're a strange mob.
Oh, jeez, yeah, indeed. All right, guys. What do you reckon? I think that pretty much rounds us out. It's
Yeah.
been a
Well,
good discussion, and it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. It really is, and I'm very keen to continue following it.
See,
Might look at getting somebody.
I think all legal disputes, right? However it goes, you'll never hear the happy ending or the sad ending.
Well, the only happy ending is
it'll just fade into obscurity. And remember, we'll be like, whatever happened to that lawsuit? And we'll be like, I don't know. Never heard anything about it after that.
I'm pretty sure Kentucky Dave will agree with me. The only happy ending is the lawyers who are involved, because they're the ones making the money out of it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
something like that, mate, making some big biggies.
Absolutely. All right, gents. We'll see how this goes. I might see if I can get an ex-employee from Wingnut Wings to perhaps come on and give a bit of a chat. We might reach out to a couple of our people that we know and see whether they're willing to comment.
Yeah.
And see what sort of input they can put in.
There's a good chance they'll just say no at the moment.
No,
wait till it settles down a bit.
Got one in mind, maybe. So we'll see.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be too hopeful, because remember, as people who were involved in the making of that kit, they might have to stay silent.
Yeah.
Legally speaking.
I'll ask and we'll see what happens.
See what happens. Yes.
All right, no worries. All right, guys, that's it. Ian.
Adios, amigos.
Oh, that's a new sign-off now.
Yeah, well, we've had a break. I'm going to go somewhere different. Adios, amigos.
You realise that it's because so many of our listeners are in the United States, they're probably cringing pretty hard at your accent, your pronunciation of those words.
Yeah, I don't care.
Like Will Pattinson, I believe he can speak proper Spanish, right?
Yes.
Especially since he's from Texas.
Yeah, well, that's right there on the border.
Yeah.
That's all right. People butcher our language. I'm not being nasty.
Do we have a language? We have an accent.
We have an accent. We've got a language that's pretty much stolen from everyone else.
Any case.
Yes.
Julian.
Yeah, bye.
All right, guys, it's great to be back.
Yay.
And I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll be seeing you in a fortnight. See you later. Thanks for being with us, and once again, really a big thank you to all of the fantastic supporters we have out there, and thanks for being patient with us while we were delayed in getting this one out. Don't forget to check out all the other great podcasts, and we have them all listed in one place. just go to modelpodcast.com and you'll see all the other fantastic shows that are available for you to download and listen to. So go and check them out. And while you are using your podcast app, don't forget to leave a rating on all of the shows. It just helps with the analytics and gets us up to the top. Thanks very much, everybody. I'll see you later.